It was such an incredible fight, man. Congratulations. And it was such a happy moment. And like, I don't mean for you, I mean for me. Like, it was so happy for me to just see you win. Like, you had one of those wins like Rose Namajunas, you know what I'm saying? Like one of those wins where it's just like you feel so good because the person deserves it so much and they're so happy. It's just like you sit back and you just feel so good that they won that belt. You know what I mean? So it was like, man, you made my day on that one.
Man, I mean, obviously every single fighter has his own reaction when they get the belt. For example, Charles Oliveira running around the cage, the octagon, very happy. For me, I remember, myself going to the center of the octagon and just start to watch all the crowd around the arena. And that moment was like, feel a lot of peace in my soul, a lot of calm in my body. And then like a few minutes later, all the emotions start to come into myself, to my body, and I start crying. I saw actually it's funny because when I talk with other people, he told me something like, "Hey man, that night was so emotional for everybody. I started crying too." Like, man, anybody cares? That moment was fine. Everybody can cry that night, no problem.
I know you said your daughter was a big inspiration coming out to the ring, but you were very confident before the fight. Now, being confident is one thing, but when you go out there, you still have to get through one of the best fighters in the world. So, I mean, it was obviously that's a tough task. So, when you were in the fight, did it ever just click to you where you thought like, okay, I got this? And where did that happen at? Where you felt like maybe, okay, like this is going to be my fight. Like I got it. Like, you know what I mean? Like it's just a matter of time.
Man, to be honest, I felt the victory in the press conference, actually.
Oh, really? You were in his head.
Man, I saw Figueiredo like different. I don't want to say scared, but different, with a different aura around himself.
Yeah.
Like a little bit angry, like frustrated, keeping his sunglasses, doesn't want to watch me directly to the eyes, and I understand the first fight was a war, and I think he wasn't prepared for another war with me. But at least for me, I was ready to die. It was necessary to get that belt. So I really felt, actually, when he pushed me in the press conference in the first face-off, I saw his face and I said something like, "No, I won this."
Yeah, that loss of control. I mean, sometimes it's to build a fight or whatever, and sometimes, some fighters like the Diaz brothers, they can use that and fight better, but most of the time it's a show of weakness. You know what I mean? Like, it's a little bit of insecurity when you have to, like, try to intimidate, and you feel like you're not intimidating someone enough with words. You have to, like, physically do something. And so I think you're right about that. I think he was kind of a little bit, something must have been going on there.
Man, I was very relaxed. I understand for for other fighters, the bad blood or how they are in his normal life, they need that. But I really felt Deiveson tried too much to be the bad guy in that fight. That was unnecessary, to be honest, because for me, I was very relaxed and very confident by myself, and so I don't know, man. I don't know. Sometimes works, but that time was mine.
And I know you mentioned it after the fight, and it's obviously the number one question you probably had, but it's been a couple of days since the fight, so you've reflected a little bit. Looking back, like, what was that feeling like when you felt that tap and it sunk in finally that, like, you won the fight, you're the champion, like, all this work, all this effort, all this sacrifice has paid off? Like, what did that feel like? Like was it, how much different was it than every other fight you've had?
Man, just I was in the zone.
Yeah.
That night. I remember when I finished the fight with the rear naked choke, Deiveson taps, and I say to my mind something like, I did it. I did it. I can't believe it. But I mean, obviously, at the same time, definitely believe it. I worked so hard for that moment, for that belt. This training camp specifically was so hard, was so long. I had too much pressure, a lot of more media, more interviews talking about the fight, talking about Deiveson Figueiredo. This guy talking with the media saying he want to knock me out in the first round. that was so hard, but man,
Yeah.
in that moment when I get the finish, I felt like, I did it.
Yeah, I know when Dana put that belt on you, I've never seen somebody squeeze and hold the belt so hard in my life as you did that belt. You squeezed that belt so hard, man. You could just tell the passion you had for holding that belt.
Man, that belt is, 10 years like a
Yeah.
professional, 15 years doing this sport. I saw that belt, I worked so hard for that piece of metal. Man, was nice. I remember Dana White put the belt in my shoulder. Then I grabbed it in my both hands and start to watch the belt. At the same time when Joe Rogan started to talk with me, nah, man, that moment was special.
Yeah.